JD here, Zero Limits, and as you can see, we're AOR Monaco here today. And for this track, you'd probably think I'd really hate this, considering I'm on the pad controller. But to be honest, this is probably one of my favourite tracks to drive because you're always on the limit. You have to push all the time, pretty much, especially in qualifying. Otherwise, you're in the wall, and any mistake you make, you'll get a corner cut penalty. It's very easy to get that around here, and you're just going to be in the wall, and any bit of damage is just going to completely destroy your race. So it requires maximum concentration, and that's the reason why I absolutely love this track. And compared to other pad users in the past and previous games, I've always done very well around here in terms of pace and consistency. It's always been excuse me, a really good track for me. So this lap here was a pretty good lap. My best was a 10.2, which for a pad is meant to be really good. I think the wheel users could even get like a 9.6, 9.5, 9.4. So it's about a second or so, so I'd say an average in the race and in qualifying as well, but that's to be expected. So it's damage limitation here because we're not going to beat the Flying Finn unless he crashes out. So we've got to just do maximum damage limitation because there's quite a few wheel users in here as well. And as you can see by this lap, it's going very well at the moment. Not corner cutting any of the parts of the track yet. Going a little bit too much in that curb there, but for the first corner, which is a major corner cutting corner, and the first chicane coming out the tunnel, those are two real big time gaining areas, and we managed to do that really nicely to get a 10.4, which I was pretty happy with that because in practice, as I said, I did a 10.2, but on the day itself I was kind of struggling to get anywhere near that 10.2 again, so a 10.4 was my next best, and that was enough to get me P6 on the grid, highest pad runner with all wheel users ahead of me. So we're in a good position, but we've got to try and get a good start because this is so important. So as the lights go out, and we get an insane start, get an absolutely rocket launch, as we have to actually back off the gas because we were going too fast into the corner. And at first I thought it would be like a jump start, but we just got an insane launch off the corners. So I'd love to have that in future because I think we could have taken 2 positions there. As we did make up 1 position, we managed to get past Alonso, Finn's brother, who had a really poor getaway. So we're in 5th place with 4 wheel users ahead of us, and Finn's actually down to 3rd as well. So it's quite good at the moment. If we can kind of maintain this position, this would be really nice. As we've got Joe ahead of us, so I don't know how quick he is. He's definitely on the wheel, I know that for sure, but he hasn't really been in that position in this league yet, so he might be running a little bit nervous. So we can see if we can maybe try and take advantage of that if he makes any mistake, because any mistake, any damage, even for a wheel user around here, you're going to lose so much time. But saying that, I had Alonso behind me, and I know he's absolutely rapid around here, seeing his recent league race. And to be honest, you may think I was crazy for doing this, but we'll come around the last corner now, coming off here, already losing touch, and we decided to let him go. And I let him go because he's just going to be all over me, as he says thank you for that little weave. He's just going to be all over me, and my thinking was it's going to create so much more risk because he's probably go for a move on me, and if I decide to really defend the position, it could cost us damage. And as I said, any damage is going to cost you at least half a second, even with the smallest amount. As Alonso makes a mistake, so I think he's actually struggling at the moment, but I think he might have got a little bit of damage himself as well. But yeah, any little damage, I just wanted to do the best I can, keep it out the wall, and that was my aim for this race, is just to keep it out the wall, and that's purely what I was focusing on. But the pace we had in practice, our race pace, was very good compared to that Martin, who's obviously a very good pad driver as well, and other pad drivers like Jason around here, who's very good. Our pace was looking super strong, and we were very consistent as well. So if he could keep that up, that'd be great. But as you can see, Alonso, I think, has managed to regain his composure. So I don't know if he had damage, but we were actually keeping up with him for a couple of laps, which I was actually starting to think, oh, why did I let him pass? I could have actually held him up, but I think it was for the best because he just would have been all over me. Having that pressure all the time from behind would have probably pushed me, or a much higher chance of me making a mistake, locking up, going to the wall or something. So I thought I just want to let him go and just focus on my own race with trying to contain Martin behind us. We're keeping at arm's reach at the moment, just outside the DRS, so I feel we have enough pace to definitely cover him off. And so we're starting to catch up with Joe because Alonso has actually overtaken him, and I think Joe might have a little bit of damage, from what I believe. Well, actually, I don't think he does, because when we actually pit, he didn't change his wing or anything. Or he might have that little green damage where the pit lane just decides, well, your engineers, pit crew decide to just not even change it, even if you've got a little bit of damage. But we're keeping up with him, and the pace is very, very good right now at this point. I was pretty surprised at this, to be honest, but we're doing 13s at the moment, and I think at mid 13s we did a 12.9 in practice in clear air on like lap 2, which is only a half a second off the wheel users, so in clear air. But that's when I was just pushing, not really thinking about trying to save the car. But as I said, at this point I was just thinking of the championship, really, to just try and get as many points as possible and not hit the wall, because not only do you have a longer pit stop, but it's just going to destroy the rest of your race, and you'll probably get even more damage because you're just going to have more understeer, you're just going to be more nervous. So I just felt keep a little bit in reserve in the tank for the pace. As you can see, we're still maintaining the gap to Martin at this point, so just making sure he doesn't have any opportunity to overtake from behind. But we're right up behind Joe at this point, and this is honestly not what I wanted, because this makes me very, very vulnerable for Martin to undercut, so he could pit any lap now and get both of us. In practice, I think I only did about seven laps into a race. I never actually did a full stint because the tyre wear is so kind to you around here. I just didn't even bother because I knew it was going to be a one stop. Just a case of when you really want to pit. I think you could literally pit from lap 5 to softs to the end. You could even do that if you wanted to. So it was just all about the situation at hand, the scenario, what was happening in front of you really is when you would go pit. But at this point, Joe's definitely holding me up a little bit at this point, because as I said, I don't know if he's got damage or he's just not getting to the rhythm of the track at this point. Might not be a good track for him, but that's just leaving Martin to be right behind us as well. And I was really, really conscious of him actually undercutting me, because then we would lose a position, and it's very, very hard, even with some really good pace, to actually overtake again. It's almost impossible to overtake around here unless someone has a massive moment. We can see still managing to just keep Martin behind and keep him with Joe in here, and we're going to go into the pits, and I was really hoping he's going to continue, but he actually goes in the pits, and I was hoping to actually undercut him. And the reason why I pitted a little bit early, my tyres were still in relatively good condition, but I just didn't want Martin to undercut me, so I decided to play it safe, go in the pits as Joe just gets out ahead of us. He's gone the super softs as well. I've gone on the softs again to just play it safe so I could always push all the time. Just being very cautious here. But we're looking at a replay. Joe, a little bit of footage from the spectator cam. Joe's actually got a 5-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I think this pit limiter is only 37 miles an hour, but he actually went 41 miles per hour in the pits. He had the stop-go penalty, and the game has not actually executed that. There's a glitch in the game where even if you have a 5-second stop-go penalty, you won't actually serve it. It will just add 10 seconds onto your race time instead. So that's just a glitch in the game. And Stu, who retired from this race, he's actually told me this, which is how I got that footage. He actually told me that Joe has got a 5-second stop-go penalty. Since it wasn't served, he's going to have a 10-second penalty at the end of the race. So I had that in mind, and I was thinking, all you got to do is stay within 10 seconds of him and you'll go pick up that 5th place. As you can see now, Martin has now gone on very long to go on the super soft tyres, so he's going to be incredibly quick on those tyres now. But I think we still have enough pace, and with his tyres wearing out slightly quicker than ours, I think we have enough just to keep him behind. But at this point, you can see Martin has actually left the session, and I was really disappointing for him. At the time, it kind of relieves me of a lot of pressure, because he was starting to close in a few tenths of lap with those faster tyres, and he would have started to put us under a little bit of pressure. But now he has actually unfortunately disconnected from the session. I think he joined back in before the end of the race as well, so he's still managed to race, but that has relieved us massively, because I think we've got a huge gap behind us. I think we've got 30 seconds or so gap behind us, so a lot of people having a lot of issues, because as I said, the number one thing around here, if you've got pace, as Joe has actually damaged his wing now, so I think he's got an orange wing. As we getting in the dirty air, you can see how much that actually affects our car. But now I think that gap behind us, the Joe, Jason being 30 seconds, as I was saying, sorry, I think any damage you get in this is so significant, it completely destroys a race. So that's why I was so focused on just keeping it out of the wall, as Joe has actually hit the wall just then, and we're right up behind him, because I think he's really struggling now with the damage. He's got absolutely no turning, and we're much quicker than him at this point, and we've been driving very solid this race, but I'm very conscious, because I just don't want to get any damage, and we're already past him. If we can just stay at this gap behind him, we've easily got 5th place in this race, because we have no penalties. We've only had one warning this race, the entire race, where it's very easy to get penalties around here, and we managed to keep it clean and keep it out of the wall, which was my number one target coming into this. Whilst actually the only time I was really going for it was in qualifying, because it's so important, but other than that, as I said, it's just to try and keep a good rhythm, be consistent. Consistency is key, and we've done that so well this race. But now getting in the dirty air of Joe is not really helping me, to be honest, because our car's starting to slide around quite a bit. It's becoming a lot more oversteery. It's been a lot floaty through the corners with that dirty air. It's not really nice, but I'm not really going to go for an overtake unless he makes a huge mistake, where it's going to be a very simple pass. I'm not going to risk going for it. So something like this, maybe if it was last lap and he didn't have a penalty, I would probably go for that kind of move. But right now, since he's basically got a 10-second penalty, there's absolutely no point, and the car behind Jason, as I said, is about 30 seconds behind, because I think he's had a lot of issues. A lot of guys behind us have been hitting the wall and stuff as well, having multiple stops. So we've got absolutely zero pressure from behind, and there's no point taking a gamble on Joe ahead of us here. There's just absolutely no point at this point. So we're just happily sitting behind him, even though we're going much slower than what I really feel I could be doing, which was the only frustration really, because I wanted to get as close to the wheel users ahead of him as much as possible for the winning race time, as we get a really good exit off of here now. So this could possibly be an opportunity, thinking about it, but we're not going to go for this at all. Braking quite late there, but again, just really trying not to just put ourselves in a dangerous position, putting it into Rich, but back down to lean, saving fuel quite nicely this race as well. But you can see he's struggling so much for here. So coming off this corner, super close, but braking nice and early, just not even thinking about it. But yeah, I just wanted to be as close to the wheel users as possible, because I felt if I got past Joe or I had clear air, I'd be going a second or so quicker maybe at this point, and I just wanted to show what I could really do in my pace. But there's nothing you can really do at this point. You just gotta be sensible, think of the long game in the championship, because there'll be many tracks in the future where we can actively fight for the race win. So coming through here now, lap 32, right behind Joe, probably the closest we've been, and been very close to me. He actually goes straight on through there, and on my screen, as you can see, there was no contact until now, but there was no contact down that corner before. But on his screen, I believe, apparently he had actually received some contact. He's starting to lag a little bit as well, so we're going down to the inside, because we do not want to repeat of Bahrain once again, trying to learn from what happened there. So just backing off now, as you can see, just backing off completely. There's no point getting anywhere near him. But yeah, we weren't anywhere near him in his screen, but apparently he got a little tap which pushed him on, which gave him a 3-second penalty, because he actually picked up 2 warnings before that as well. So unfortunate for him, but as you can see on our screen, we weren't even anywhere near him. But that's the issue of this game at the moment. There's quite a few desyncing moments, which is something that definitely needs to be fixed. As we're coming up to Alonso now, and I had Stu talking to me in the party. I think he's lost most of his wing, if not almost all his wing, I think. And you can see how much he is struggling at the moment. And he actually has a penalty as well. He has 6 seconds worth of penalties, I believe. So if we stay here, we're in 4th position for this race. And I just couldn't believe that we were in that position to pick up 4th place. Coming into this, if someone said to me you could get 4th place around Monaco, I would absolutely bite your hand off. But it's not secured yet. We just need to... Don't do anything stupid, I was saying to myself at this point, and Stu was telling me that as well, who was being really, really helpful, because if I didn't have him, I would have probably gone for quite a dangerous, well, definitely gone for an overtake at least on the pair ahead of me, which might have resulted in me crashing out, completely DNFing, like losing my wing. Anything could happen. You can see again, we're just being so cautious, because all we have to do is just stay within 6 seconds of Alonso and 10 seconds of Joe, and we're going to pick up these 2 positions, which would give us P4. So coming through this last lap, it was really painful, because we could go so much faster than this, because we haven't received any damage this race at all. Like, we hit the wall, maybe, well, we scraped the wall a couple of times, just bumped it, but no real big contact, with still good paces. Matiz has actually won this race. You can see how much further up the road as he is, and I think Alonso's lost his wing again. I think he's actually completely lost his whole wing now, so this is going to be a really painful last lap. 1.2 seconds down in Sector 1, so you can see how much slower we're actually going, and he must be driving, tearing his hair out at this point, but we've still got a big gap behind us. We've still got 30 seconds behind us as well to ESR Simon, so all we've got to do is just stay here, and it was just a cruise to the finish at this point as Lockdown retires from the race. But they're defending really hard, as Sonic doesn't know, unless Finn's told him already, his brother in the pie, that Joe's got a penalty or not. But we're going to pick up these positions. All we have to do is just keep nice and close. So you can see we're not even interested in overtaking. There's absolutely no point in trying to overtake at all. So coming around here, penultimate corner, as Alonso's hit the wall and Joe's going to go down the inside of him. There's going to be a little bit of contact. I was really hoping he wouldn't spin off into me, because imagine if we DNF'd here going across the line. And you can see, it will come up in a little bit now, that we've managed to come P4 in the Monaco Grand Prix, starting from 6th place, a really good qualifying, really pushing it, and I think I drove a really smart race, and I felt the pace was really good throughout, especially in the earlier stints where we caught up to Alonso, or keeping with Alonso, caught up with Joe, managing to hold the gap to Martin. I think if we actually had clear free air, then we could have gone even faster. So felt like I was always in control of the race, and I was so happy about it. It felt like a win, to be honest, having P4 round there with the 3 wheel users ahead of me of Matiz, Finn and Evo. That was a really good result. So I hope you've enjoyed that Grand Prix. Next race, I think, is postponed because we're at esports, but I think it's Austria's going to be next race. So I really enjoyed that track. Thank you so much for the support recently, and I will catch you next time. Cheers.